Have you ever gone into a Minecraft multiplayer world and just wanted to have a simple way to hide your chests so that people don't go rummaging through your stuff? I'm looking at you, Prowl. Well, in today's Minecraft Redstone tutorial, we have just the solution for you. If this is a problem you want a solution for, you can tuck your chest away in the floor like this, store all of your valuables, and then press the button, and away it goes, replaced with a floor block that matches everything around it. And if you want to go the extra mile and take this button away, nobody will ever know this is there. Before we get into the actual redstone mechanics for this, it is very, very simple to build, but I wanted to give a quick shout out to Jade Somia Faredza, another YouTuber that does redstone on Bedrock Edition. It was brought to my attention as I was sharing this build idea with a couple of friends of mine that this exact design was done about a year and a half before I came up with this. Literally, I had no idea. I went into my testing world, I tinkered around for about an hour and a half, and then I said, hey, Zero Cruel, check out this cool block swapper design I just came up with. And his reply? Yeah, Jade came up with that about a year and a half ago. So, Jade, awesome, great minds think alike, huge shout out to her, go check out her channel as well. It just goes to show that in Minecraft, there are a finite number of ways to do things, and if you work long enough and hard enough, sometimes you end up at the same conclusion as somebody else. So without any further ado, we've got this massive platform here, and you're kind of expecting some big redstone underneath, but no. In fact, we don't really even need this stuff right here. That is just the trigger to get the thing activated. This is the basic build of what we're gonna be doing today. It is a 1x5 design, and this thing is 100% tileable, so we can stack these things next to each other. I've got a cool experiment to show you a little bit later in this tutorial, but let's get to building it first. The footprint for this design, as we've mentioned, is very small. It is 1x5, and the materials list is just as small. You're only gonna need 2 solid blocks of your choice, 3 redstone torches, 1 sticky piston, 2 regular pistons, 2 observers, 1 chest, and a button. To get started, we're gonna place a solid block right in the middle of this strip of 1x5, and then we're gonna place a redstone torch on top of that. Next, on top of this redstone torch, we're gonna place a sticky piston facing upwards, just like so, and it will be powered by default, which is absolutely okay, that's what we want. Out of the side of the piston right here, we're going to put 1 observer on the left and 1 observer on the right. And then out of those 2 observers, we're going to have a redstone torch on the red dot, so that when this piston retracts, the observer will pick up that signal on both sides, and it will depower this torch, and some things will start happening with the pistons above. Speaking of pistons, we need to go ahead and place a temporary block here, a temporary block here, break this one, and then have a regular piston facing this direction, and then that one is powered on by default as well. We want to do something a little bit different with this side over here. Before we put the piston in place, we want to take the second block of our swapper and place it right on top of this observer. If we don't place that here first, the piston will extend and we won't be able to place blocks anywhere. But then we'll take another temporary block here and here, break this middle one, and then place another regular piston just like that. The last thing we need for this build is our chest on top of the sticky piston, and we are ready to roll. Now that we've built this, let's go ahead and give a quick explanation of why this works the way that it does. When we press this button right here, or power the block in some other way, the redstone torch will shut off. When it shuts off, this piston will retract and bring the chest down to the bottom because it is a sticky piston. Now, if you're doing this on Java, it is my understanding that chests do not move like this on Java Edition, so this is a Bedrock exclusive feature, at least at the time of this video. When this piston is bringing the chest down, it will send a signal to both of these observers to let them know that this piston is retracting. These are fast enough to tick off and on again in order for this block to push this chest over to the left before this piston has a chance to extend again and before this piston has a chance to push up. So, for example, there we go. It works just like clockwork. I went through about 5 or 6 different designs, and none of them worked as consistently as this one. This one has not failed yet. The only problems that you could potentially run into is if you have multiple of these stacked next to each other and you start spamming the button, it may not always shift the correct blocks at the correct time. So just be careful not to spam the button and let it go through its full cycle before pressing it again. So we're here in my creative testing world, and as you can see, there's a little bit going on here. It's not super packed just yet, but we've been working on trying to get some new designs and some tutorials out for you guys for our Redstone series, and also for Truly Bedrock. If you haven't seen that series, go check it out. Would love to have your support over there as well. But this is one example of how we can tile this thing to be functional for something pretty cool. The only difference that you're seeing here is that these blocks are powered by repeaters that come from a button directly at the top, up here on the wall, through a cascading torch tower, a redstone line, and so on and so forth. This is a much more real-world example of how you would use this rather than a button directly on the block. Not highly practical to do it that way. So, if you're in a real Minecraft situation, you don't necessarily want to hide all of your stuff all the time. I stumbled upon this fun little feature by doing exactly what I told you guys not to do, spam this button. It got out of sync, and it got me to thinking, you're not necessarily always going to want to hide your storage, but there are some real-world situations where you might want to swap out crafting areas. So maybe you've got a furnace, a chest, and an anvil, and you use those for whatever you need them for at that given time. Then you can come over here and press the button, and it'll swap it out for some lighting, a couple more chests, a crafting table. You can really mix in anything you want here. Unfortunately, one thing that I did try to get to work with this system was shulker boxes, and they just simply do not work. They sit there and then they break. So unfortunately, shulkers are not a thing. They don't work with this system, but you can use chests, trap chests, barrels, any kind of profession block except for the grindstone. The grindstone breaks as well. It just goes to show that each block has its own quirkiness and not everything operates the same way. So just give it a try and test out different varieties, different combinations, and see what you can come up with. I would love it if you joined my Discord server and sent me some of your creations using this mechanic. If you'd like to see me come up with more ideas for this particular block swapper, I've already got some in mind. Let me know in the comment section. And if we hit like maybe 50 likes on this video or something like that, we'll do a follow-up video with some more creations just like this. But thank you guys so much for watching and have a fantastic day.